Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about who has the power in America, in Western civilization. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I believe that the people have the power. Now, we have been fooled into thinking we don't, but that's all just a mirage. It's smoke and mirrors to make us believe that the power lies in government officials and all this other stuff. These big corporations have power over us. These governments have power over us, but that's just a complete lie. It's a total lie. And I can prove that with the bill they just tried to pass in Congress. Now, for those of you who are unaware, they just tried to pass this spending bill in order to keep the government open. They had to do their rigmarole. They had to pass a bill and get the two parties to agree on it, or the government would shut down. And you know what that would cause? That would cause national parks to be closed, and then all of us would get sick and die probably. I don't know the ramifications of that, but it's horrible. It's the most horrible thing you can imagine is a government shutdown, so we're told. But what happened was they started to force this bill through. They've had it since that, what they've known this whole time. I mean, go back to the last bill. The last time they tried to scare us with a government shutdown. They've needed to pass this bill since then. They've had all this time, years or a year, whatever it is, to get this bill ready, right? To have everybody look at it, to have everybody, make any changes that they needed, whatever. But of course, like they always do, they just pop it in on the day before they want to vote at the last minute, and they try to push it through. The thing was literally this thick. There's sheets of paper. The bill was, I don't know how many pages. 1,500 pages or something. It was insane. They tried to force it through at the last minute. Nobody who was going to vote on it had read it. They all claimed they didn't have time to read it, but Vivek Ramaswamy, he took the time to read it. How he had the time when all these congressmen didn't have the time, figure that one out. These congressmen, they work like, I don't know, 2 days a week or something, some insane shit like that. They don't work like we do. They work just barely any time at all. It's just the most relaxed, laid-back job imaginable. They go to these luncheons with these lobbyists, right? And just rake in the money from these lobbyists who pay them to vote and all this shit. They hardly work at all. I mean, they don't really work at all ever, but from what they call work, going to lunch with lobbyists and shit, they hardly even do that. They hardly work at all. They spend little time in Congress doing their actual job, very little. And they were told that they didn't have time to read this bill. Well, Vivek Ramaswamy read the bill and basically told us what was in it, and the American people on X just rose up against it. It was shut down the government, was trending on X. Millions of people made their voices heard and rejected this bill, and we're basically tweeting, making posts about, anybody that votes yes on this bill will not be reelected. That you're basically signing away your job because you're not coming back. We're not going to bring you back if you vote yes on this bill. Vote no if it goes through. We don't want it. The one key takeaway was that they put the disaster relief for the hurricane victims in the bill, and so that they could say, that this bill is to help people. So if you voted no on this bill, you were voting no for disaster relief, and that's the shit. The deep state, the leftists, the whatever you want to call them. That's how they play this shit all the time. If you pay attention, they'll put one good thing in with all their evil shit, and then if you say no to it, then you're against that one good thing, right? That's in their playbook across the board, not just with bills. That's across the board with gender ideology, with just everything, war, name it. That's how they play the game. But underneath the relief for hurricane victims, which that's another whole different point about why doesn't FEMA just have that relief? Why don't they just have the resources to offer that relief no matter off the bat? What is FEMA for? They're just taking people's kids and ignoring anybody with an American flag in their yard and all this shit, but they didn't help anyone. What the hell is FEMA for? What are we pumping billions of dollars into FEMA for if FEMA's not helping people, if we need a separate bill to help people? Okay, that's another ridiculous thing there. This FEMA is just costing us money every single year, but when people need help, they need to pass a bill to give people help. What? I thought that's what FEMA was for. Why isn't FEMA just out there writing people checks? Seriously. That's their job. But I digress. So underneath the aid for hurricane victims, you got all this other bullshit, these biological things, and just weird, crazy shit. Funding these weird experiments, useless, completely garbage experiments. And that goes back to the science. You know what I'm saying? If you're a scientist and you're doing a research for something, and you get a big check from this one party to research some stupid, ridiculous bullshit, that check is just to tell you which way your real research is supposed to come out. You know what I mean? Where the needle lands with your real research. These scientists are just paid off hacks, shills, just like the media. Not all of them, not all media people are bullshit. Not some of them are out there risking their lives to tell the truth. So don't get me wrong on this. Not all scientists are hacks and bullshit artists, but they are out there. They are out there. They are just paid to lie. And this bill is proof of that. Why do you give a shit, I heard this one study, $1 million grant was given to find out why inmates want to escape from prison. It's just obvious. Being imprisoned is bad. Being free is good. It's just obvious. You know what I'm saying? It's like $1 million study about why people want to breathe air or why people want to eat food. It's just completely and utterly ridiculous. It's just a smokescreen to bribe scientists into coming up with the story they want. But my point is that they do this shit and they try to force it through without our knowledge, without our consent. Another thing was a $70,000 raise was put in this bill for Congress. In my opinion, congressional raises should be put on the ballot. If they've done a good job for the American people, if they've been transparent with us and they've avoided wars and they've balanced the budget and they've helped the economy, then we vote for them to have a raise. They don't just get to give themselves raises. Why is that a thing? Why? I don't just get to give myself a raise. You don't just get to give yourself a raise. Why can't Gen X just say, we get raises, 70 grand next year, starting January 1st. We get $70,000 more put into our accounts. Why do they get to? It's completely ridiculous. But anyway, people rose up on X and voiced their opinions about this and drew a line and said, this is not going to happen, and this is not the will of the American people. And if it does happen, you're gone. You will lose your job. You will not see that $70,000 raise. So they canned the bill. They killed it, squashed it. They had no choice. Why? Because we have the power. The American people have the power. The Australian people have the power. The English people have the power. The Canadian people have the power. We have the power. Who's going to fly their jets? Who's going to fly their drones? Who's going to drive their tanks? If everyone stood together, there is nothing they could do. Absolutely nothing. And we could do it peacefully. I'm not talking about any kind of anything. We can do it from our couch. Do it from a wheelchair. Do it from a rocking chair. It was just proven on X 2 or 3 days ago. All you have to do is make your voice known. Make your voice known by supporting channels that are promoting truth. Make your voice known by posting in the comments and posting on Twitter, or X rather. And make your voice known by commenting on these things. Thumbs up if somebody says, this bill shall not pass, and it gets 10 million thumbs up. That's 10 million people. And those congressmen and senators and shit, they see that. The will of the people reigns supreme. But we have to make our will known. We cannot sit by idly and look around and complain about all the shit that's going on and then expect it to change. It's not going to change until we change it. We will stand united or we will fall apart. Period. And if you don't believe in all this globalism then you're not paying attention. This is happening. This is going on. And if you think that the army or the government would just take us out, well, that's akin to a farmer just going out and shooting his plow horse. We are the workhorse. We are the power in this country. And all it takes is a little bit of common sense to see that. A little bit of thought. And this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Because if we continue to do this, which is my goal here, to continue to do this and to grow this, to take this back to colonial days, to 1776, where the people are united and stand together for a common goal, which is the Constitution of the United States and freedom for everyone. Stop the crooked lying, stop the crooked thievery, stop the rape and the the theft of the American people, stop the overtaxing. If you believe for a second that our taxes are going to go backwards ever and they're going to get down to where we can ever live without our intervention, you're dreaming. None of those government officials, none of them are going to just say, hey, let's just rein this in a little bit and just take the pressure off the American people just so we can be good people. I'll take a hit on my paycheck. I won't make, so many millions next year. Let's just help no one's going to do that. We've got to make our voices known and make them do it. No one's going to do it on their own. None of the deep state, none of those twisted politicians in there. Now, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they're trying to. They want to do that. But also, having said that, if say Elon Musk started doing some weird shit that we dislike, and we all of us stood up together and said, okay, we're gonna boycott Tesla, he'd change his tune real quick. If his Tesla sales and his Tesla stock plummeted because of he starts doing some weird shit, yeah. So we have the power. It's the United States of America. That word united is always heard throughout our Constitution and our Republic. It's said over and over and over again throughout the history of this country. It's in the name of the country, the United States of America. Unity. We stand united. That is the most important thing that we need to get across to every single citizen who will listen at all. Because when we stand united, we will fix things. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you want to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. And I'll put that link down in the description too. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can head over to Redbubble and check that stuff out over there. We got some pretty cool stuff over there, but I'll put that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. Sharing the truth is so important in this day and age. We've got to do it. So please consider sharing these videos and supporting the channel and supporting the truth. Thank you very much to those of you who do that. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can head over to the channel page and email us from there. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.